we all have to come together, and that's what we've done with this public housing petition. We've come together and we've said no to this government's disastrous plan.
It's a very significant moment that we've reached today with over 2,000 signatures now on the petition, and it's extra significant because we know that each of those signatures means a conversation with someone in the community. The vast majority of those signatories are people who live in public housing, and this is about empowering public housing communities to be able to speak out about their homes, their communities and their futures.
We have joined with the resident community here to make our connection so strong that when we come together, we cannot be beaten. And so I believe that we can actually stop this disastrous plan from happening.
We confuse why would the government want to destroy something that is still good and replace with mostly affordable private apartments and some social housing. Right now, there's 4 blocks of each house 200 apartments in Fitzroy. Most of the people will be moved somewhere else, and only very few will be able to return. So the question what the future holds for us is uncertainty, and it's unsettling.
When I first moved here, I actually was homeless, so I didn't have a place under my name, so I was kind of couch surfing. So I was under the waiting list for I think 3 months, but I was very persistent. Every day I called, every day they told me there's no home, and every day I said I'm still homeless, so wait for their phone call, but I never actually waited for the phone calls. Public housing is a safety net for each and every single person, whichever cluster you're from, and I think everyone deserves a home, and people should just be as diverse, and housing should be as diverse as people are. So we can't all fit us in one box, and housing cannot all be fit in one box.
They're about to displace 10,000 people without a plan for where people are going to go to. We're in a housing crisis of proportions we haven't seen for decades. There are over 120,000 people already on the waiting list for public housing, over 30,000 people experiencing homelessness on any given night, and they've come up with a plan to displace all the people who live in these homes right now.
People are increasingly looking at the government and saying, well, no, that's not the way you get out of trouble. The way you get out of trouble is by making the big developers and big corporations pay their fair share, not coming and attacking people who are doing it tough, not coming and attacking public hospitals and public housing. And I think the tide is turning, right? The tide is increasingly turning, and people are just increasingly fed up with a government that says the answer to our problems is to attack poor and working class people and attack public housing and attack public hospitals. And people are saying, well, no, we want a better way. And that's what we're going to fight for and keep fighting for.
We're going to force Labor and the Liberals to actually justify this terrible plan that they've put forward, to answer some of our questions that we have about where residents are going to go, how they're going to ensure that the people can be housed, that everyone into the future are going to be housed. What's going to happen to the 120,000 people on the public housing waiting list?
This community, it's a strong community. They connected to each other, and they've been here together since a long time. So they don't want to, to lose their relation and their connections here. If they push and they move somewhere else, so the connection of this community, it's really painful. It's going to be, lose it really. And it's not a right thing, that's why we are fighting for them.
There is nothing wrong. There is no structural damage. The apartments are big and spacious and bright. It's so much of sunlight, and it's well maintained in a way. And the question is, why the government want to destroy something that is structurally sound and structurally intact? It makes no sense, because this apartment will stay for another 50 years without a problem.
We need a government that caters to each and every one of us, that doesn't just think of one class of people. Not the Labor government and not the Liberal government at the moment. I think they're thinking about themselves, their pockets, and when you have governments in place that just think about their pockets, they're never for the people.
I think this is what the Labor government of late forgetting, is that the people's voices need to be heard with the most disadvantaged or marginalized people of our society. And it doesn't mean that the government have a right to make a decision for us. they have to consult us, they have to speak to us, or they have to work with us and what the future holds, rather than make a decision and this is what we decide and you just have to go with that.